In a world that never stops talking, where every second is filled with notifications, conversations, and background noise, silence has become a rare luxury. But if there's one truth that life and cinema has taught me, it's this: the most powerful moments are often the quietest ones. Think about it. In the grandest movies, it's not always the loud explosions or dramatic dialogues that stay with us. Sometimes it's that one silent moment between two characters, the unspoken glance, the pause before the final act. That's when the real magic happens. And just like in films, life's deepest wisdom, its greatest lessons, and yes, God's voice, are heard most clearly in silence. We live in an age where we are constantly bombarded by information. Our minds are flooded with social media updates, news headlines, endless entertainment, and the pressure to always be engaged. We wake up to alarms, check our phones before even getting out of bed, and go to sleep with the glow of a screen still lingering in our eyes. We have become so accustomed to noise that silence feels uncomfortable, almost unnatural. And yet, if we truly want to hear God, if we truly want to understand ourselves, we must learn to embrace silence. Silence is not just about the absence of noise. It's about creating space. Space for reflection, for clarity, for something greater than ourselves to speak. Have you ever noticed how the most profound realizations come when you're alone, in a quiet place, away from distractions? That's because silence gives your soul the chance to breathe. It allows your mind to settle, your heart to listen, and your spirit to connect with something beyond the physical world. But here's the catch. Silence requires courage. It's easy to drown in the distractions of life because they keep us from facing our true selves. When we are constantly surrounded by noise, we don't have to deal with our fears, our doubts, or our deepest questions. But when we choose silence, we come face to face with who we really are. And that's where transformation begins. Imagine a scene in a movie where the hero is lost, unsure of what to do next. The best directors know that this moment doesn't need music or dialogue. Instead, they let the silence speak. The character stands alone, looks out into the horizon, and in that quiet moment, clarity comes. That's how life works too. When we allow silence, we allow God to direct our next move. Many people think that hearing God means experiencing something dramatic, like a thunderous voice from the sky or a grand miracle. But in reality, God often speaks in whispers. He speaks through the rustling of leaves, through the calmness of a morning sunrise, through the gentle rhythm of your own breath. He speaks when you sit in stillness, without expectation, simply being present. I remember once feeling lost, overwhelmed by the noise of life, success, failures, expectations, doubts. I kept searching for answers outside of myself, hoping someone or something would guide me. But the more I searched, the more confused I became. Then one day I decided to just sit in silence. No phone, no distractions, just me and my thoughts. At first it was uncomfortable. My mind kept racing, trying to fill the emptiness. But slowly the noise within me began to fade, and in that silence I heard something. Not a voice, not words, but a deep inner knowing, a sense of peace that told me everything will be okay, just trust. That's the power of silence. It doesn't just help you hear God, it helps you hear yourself. It clears the static of doubt and fear and tunes you into a frequency of faith. But how do we embrace silence in a world that constantly demands our attention? Start small. Take a few minutes each day to disconnect from everything. No phone, no music, no distractions. Just sit and breathe. Go for a walk without headphones. Wake up a little earlier to enjoy the quiet of the morning. Observe the world around you without rushing. And most importantly, listen, not just with your ears, but with your heart. Silence is the real superstar of life. It's where wisdom is born, where creativity flourishes, where faith is strengthened, And if we can learn to embrace it, to make it a part of our daily lives, we will not only hear God more clearly, but also understand our own purpose with greater clarity. So, the next time life feels too noisy, when you're searching for direction or simply need peace, remember this: silence isn't empty, it's full of answers. And in its quiet embrace, you will find the voice that has been speaking to you all along. Life, much like a film, unfolds scene by scene, moment by moment. Sometimes everything flows smoothly, the hero wins, love conquers all, and dreams come true. Other times it feels like the story has taken an unexpected turn, like a plot twist we never saw coming. In these moments we question everything. Why did this happen? What's next? Is there even a happy ending? But just like every great movie has a director guiding the story, life has a higher force shaping our journey. And that force is faith. Faith is not just a word. It's the invisible script that holds our lives together. It's what keeps us moving even when we can't see the next scene. It's the quiet belief that even when things seem to be going wrong, the bigger picture is still unfolding exactly as it should. A good director knows the entire story from the start. The actors may only see their parts, their dialogues, their individual scenes. They don't always know how everything will come together, but they trust the director to bring it all to life. Similarly, faith is about trusting that even when we don't understand, there is a divine plan at work. One of the biggest challenges in life is dealing with uncertainty. We all want to know what's going to happen next. We want clear signs, perfect roadmaps, and guaranteed outcomes. But life doesn't work that way. Sometimes we don't get the role we wanted, we face rejection, or things don't go as planned. It's in these moments that faith truly becomes the director of our lives. It's easy to have faith when everything is going well, but real faith is tested in the tough times. When the set looks like chaos, when the script seems lost, and when nothing makes sense. Think about some of the greatest films ever made. The protagonist always faces obstacles, hardships, and moments of doubt. But those very struggles are what make the story powerful. Without them, there is no growth, no transformation, no triumph. Life is no different. Every challenge we face is part of a larger narrative. We may not understand it in the moment, but with time we see how every setback was actually a setup for something greater. Faith doesn't mean we will never face difficulties. It doesn't guarantee that everything will be easy. What it does is give us the strength to keep going, even when the path is unclear. It reminds us that even when we are in the darkest scenes of our story, the light is just ahead. I have seen this truth unfold not just in films, but in real life. Many times I have faced moments where I didn't know what would happen next. Moments of doubt, fear, and confusion. But looking back, I realized that every time I trusted the process, every time I chose faith over fear, life directed me towards something better. It's like being in a film where you don't know the ending, but you trust that the story is worth telling. Faith is also about letting go. A director knows when to cut a scene, when to move forward, when to change direction. In our lives, we often hold on too tightly to what we think should happen. We resist change, fearing the unknown. But sometimes what feels like an ending is actually a new beginning. What seems like a failure is just a redirection towards something greater. If we truly want to hear God, to understand His guidance, we must trust Him as the director of our lives. We must surrender our need for control and believe that even in the silence, even in the waiting, He is at work. We may not always get the answers immediately, but faith assures us that they will come at the right time. One of the most beautiful things about faith is that it changes the way we see life. When we trust that everything has a purpose, we stop seeing problems as obstacles and start seeing them as lessons. We stop panicking over delays and start believing in divine timing. We stop worrying about every little detail and start embracing the bigger picture. Imagine watching a film where the hero gave up after the first challenge, where they refused to trust the journey and walked away. That wouldn't be much of a story, would it? In the same way, if we let fear take over, if we refuse to trust in something greater than ourselves, we miss out on the full beauty of our own story. Faith is what keeps us going when the road is unclear. It is what allows us to embrace the journey even when we don't know the final destination. It is what turns our struggles into strengths, our failures into wisdom, and our setbacks into setups for something extraordinary. So if you ever find yourself lost, uncertain, wondering what's next, remember that you don't have to have all the answers. You just need to have faith, because just like in every great movie, the best scenes often come after the most difficult moments. And in the grand story of your life, the director knows exactly what he's doing.